we begin to open up a space for you, our listeners, to ask questions and, if you like, share your thoughts about God or any experiences you might have had. In a special episode we're calling What's on Your Mind, I'll read a question or comment we've received from one of our readers or listeners to this podcast, and Jerry will give a response. Maybe you were wondering about the same thing, or perhaps you might have a thought similar to someone else.
Another wonderful episode of What's on Your Mind. We've got a really interesting email today. I can't wait to get into it.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah, from a woman named Barbara.
This comes from a reader named Mary. Hayden submitted a comment to the website.
Quinton, Jesse, and Darlene.
Tamara leaves a comment.
Doug, Wayne, Jenny. Eve writes in. Back into the mailbag a little bit here. We've got a wonderful comment that I just was really excited to read. This is from a gentleman named Richard.
We find people writing their fascinating stories, sometimes with questions for us, sometimes just to share. And yet they have very interesting things to say to us. You know, we all have low points and we have high points in our lives. And sometimes you learn more from the low points. And I think we see some of that here in these messages from readers. I just find them so illuminating. It's the only word for it, in the sense of lighting up part of the sky, because everyone has their own experience. And each experience is one we can learn something from. People's spiritual lives, their struggles beyond their spiritual lives as well, are endlessly interesting. And they have a lot of depth that people may not always realize they have. And they're well worth our exploring and discussing and maybe trying to be helpful. Though they're different people, who knows where they live, they raise very interesting issues. And they're, to my mind, more complicated than they might appear at first glance. We can learn an awful lot from each other, Scott.
To share that experience of that relationship with one another. I love doing these kinds of episodes. It seems to be a decision that one makes on what kind of life one wants to live.
So I always think this is real life. People are writing from the depths of their experience, and it's good things and bad things and in between things. And it's the real drama of life. And so I find these just fascinating to ponder and go into and to talk about. These reports from different people, they're so different. Everyone has an individual story that is quite different from the next person's story. And it's got its own fate and destiny, you might say. It unfolds on its own. And for people to share those with us is a great blessing.